When you're on a road trip, late for work, or just feeling the vibes and looking to chow down on some munchies, the green, orange, and white glow of the 7-Eleven sign is ready to accept your rumbly tummy 24 hours a day. Known for their numerous locations, quick service, and giant portions, 7-Eleven is a daily stop for millions of snackers every day. But as popular as it is, 7-Eleven food is often derogatorily referred to as gas station food, or even trash food. But can treats that taste so good really be so bad? Well, today we're answering the question, is 7-Eleven food really that bad? But before we grab to go, why don't you hit that subscribe button? Then make a quick stop to the comments and let us know what other convenience stores you want to know about. Okay, let's take a trip to the place where the bites never sleep. Long before it was a 24/7 snack fest for the masses, 7-Eleven's story began nearly a century before in hot and sweaty Dallas, Texas, way back in 1927. A small grocery operation was opened up out of a Southland ice company called Storage Ice House by a fella named Joe Thompson. Joe would later go on to own the whole ice conglomerate, which would allow him to establish further stores. Putting his direct access to a refrigerated space to good use, the store began supplementing its earnings by also offering eggs, milk, and bread in a makeshift ice house storefront. More stores were opened, eventually called Totem, from a popular totem pole displayed in front of some of the locations. Remember, this was the 1920s and looking at carved wood was the equivalent of scrolling TikTok. The small convenience stops were a pretty immediate hit, but were then pretty immediately hit, like so many others, by the Great Depression of 1929. But once Prohibition was repealed, sales of alcoholic beverages allowed Totem to boost their own sales again. So you could say that booze saved 7-Eleven. Things continued to go conveniently for the small group of stores over the next decade, allowing them to extend their retail offerings as well as their operating hours from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. In 1946, the shops officially became known as 7-Eleven to reflect these hours. They eventually grew popular enough that by 1962, several stores were opting to stay open all night. And over time, 7-Eleven became the premier place to grab a quick bite at any hour of the day for just a little bit of cash. Convenience like that is probably why 7-Eleven boasts around 84,000 stores in 19 countries over the past 100 years or so. But that convenience was a double-edged sword. Customers began associating the chain's low prices with a decrease in quality, and food that was meant to be inexpensive suddenly became cheap. And let's be honest, there's only so much a big bite can do to look delicious while it's flopping around in that warmer. 7-Eleven's newfound reputation as a guilty pleasure did not seem to turn anyone away. And in fact, the brand has embraced it with gargantuan signature items like its towering Big Gulps. But was that reputation well-deserved? Or was it a self-fulfilling prophecy? We can't talk about 7-Eleven without bringing up the slushy frozen beverages bursting with the artificial flavors we all know and love. Around 14 million Slurpees are sold every month, and a whopping 7.2 billion since their chilly introduction. While the name Slurpee is synonymous with 7-Eleven, it was actually a Dairy Queen employee who invented the drink back in the 1950s. The beverage, dubbed the Icy, eventually had its own machine designed to freeze all varieties of sodas, fruit drinks, and flavored syrup water. The drink was licensed to 7-Eleven in 1965, where it was renamed Slurpee, based on the sound the straw makes when you drink it. Fast forward to today, and this accidental frosty treat is one of 7-Eleven's most iconic products. It's so synonymous with the franchise that every year on July 11th, when the calendar reads 7-Eleven, the store hosts Bring Your Own Cup Day, where Slurpee lovers pay a flat rate to bring fish bowls, bundt cake pans, milk jugs, and just about any other kind of cup you can fit through a 10-inch hole to fill it with Slurpee. That's a lot of sugar, so it's probably no surprise that the slushy concoction is no friend to your body. Aside from the ice part, Slurpees primarily get their flavors from high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and oh so many preservatives. The high sugar content alone has long been the ire of healthcare officials everywhere, who claim that drinks like Australia's sour orange Mega Slurpee has a whopping 49 teaspoons of sugar, while the creamy soda Mega Slurpee clocks in at just around 37 teaspoons. That's roughly 8 times the American Heart Association's recommended sugar consumption per day, officially making it the raddest drink in history. The Magnificent Seven seems to be aware of how their sugary drinks are perceived by the health organizations, and have made strides to offer diet or low-sugar options such as sugar-free mango, which has significantly fewer calories and sugar. But even those tend to be loaded up with artificial sweeteners, so it's a pick-your-poison kind of situation. A big thirst calls for a big drink, and the mind can't comprehend a beverage much bigger than 7-Eleven's Big Gulp. The iconic tub of sugar water is known for its comically large 32-ounce cup, its spotlight in the United States obesity debate, and that scene in Dumb and Dumber. The idea of a 32-ounce cup was all but unheard of when it was proposed to 7-Eleven execs by Coca-Cola representatives in 1976. Sales at 7-Eleven had been down, and merchandise manager Dennis Potts ordered 2 crates of oversized cups as a Hail Mary pass, not expecting much to come of it. They ran out of the new 32-ounce cups in less than a week, and 7-Eleven's been trying to outdo themselves ever since. In the decades since 1980, 7-Eleven has introduced 32-ounce, 44-ounce, and 64-ounce sized Big Gulps, as well as other grotesquely gargantuan sizes, each of them containing more sugar than a human needs in several lifetimes. Consequently, these big beverages have faced some big scrutiny. The Gulps were in the crosshairs in 2013, when then-Mayor Michael Bloomberg attempted to ban sugary beverages over 16 ounces to help fight the growing obesity epidemic. The ban was axed a month before it would have gone into effect, presumably after someone asked the question, couldn't they just buy 2? Similar bans were attempted in other states, each time with 7-Eleven arguing that education might do more for waistlines than soda bans. The Big Gulp, the Double Gulp, the Extreme Gulp, and even the Little Big Gulp deserve their place in soft drink and convenience store history. Just maybe try to limit them to special occasions, but you probably shouldn't fill one with champagne. 7-Eleven started selling hot dogs in the 1970s, but it wasn't until 1988 that they rolled out the quarter-pound Big Bite, an enormous grilled frank perched deliciously inside an iconic countertop roller grill. In a team-up with Oscar Mayer, the uniquely spiced all-beef recipe is unique to 7-Eleven stores, who sell roughly 100 million hot dogs every year. Despite being one of the best-selling items 7-Elevens have to offer, the attempts to capitalize on the popularity have been less than well received. Take the cheeseburger Big Bite, which is really just a tube-shaped hunk of hamburger in a normal hot dog bun. The hot burger concoction has been the ire of review sites along with a few other varieties that attempt to profit off the Big Bite dynasty. The Spicy Bite, the Quarter-Pounder Big Bite, and most other roller-roasted treats have the tendency to be left rolling a bit too long for most customers' taste buds. It doesn't stop anyone from buying them, but it's good to know why your Big Bite occasionally tastes like shoe leather with relish on it. We're probably not pulling the curtain back on any kind of hot dog secret here when we tell you the Big Bite is not doing your body any big favors. With calories in the hundreds, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and all those tasty saturated fats, the Big Bite is a bad choice if you're eating healthy, but an excellent choice at 2 a.m. Believe it or not, the health-conscious can rub elbows with all the big biters and gulpers on a 7-Eleven run. Cold-pressed juices, chicken salad sandwiches, and various fruit and veggie options are just a few healthy options you can find gracing their refrigerators. But it can be difficult to recognize those options when there's an entire pizza for $5 a few feet away. The 7-Eleven pizza is one of their top-selling items, and one that is almost universally considered pretty okay, all things considered. However, former employees do admit to letting the fresh-baked pizza warm up in its box far beyond the recommended time frame, sometimes by several hours, resulting in a texture not much different from the box it's served in. Cavia tempura de pizza. While most of their menu items contain preservatives as well as too much salt and fat, the reviews about their offerings vary from item to item, with gripes relating to soggy chicken sandwiches to bland and tasteless Doritos loaded, and praise for their spicy chicken chipotle taquitos and mini beef tacos. You'll find everyone has their item, even if none of it is particularly good for you. But even the good stuff isn't immune to scrutiny or foodborne bacteria. Salmonella and Listeria contamination have reared their ugly heads inside the likes of muffins, bacon, and even the sushi. Yeah, 7-Eleven carries sushi, although it's tough to recommend raw fish sitting on a shelf next to string cheese and those giant single-serving pickles. 7-Elevens are pretty revered in the good old US of A, and with over 80,000 stores all across the globe, the international snacking options are nigh limitless. 7-Elevens are particularly popular in Japan, where you can find normal convenience store items as well as some specialty exclusives. In addition to nutritious options like salads, fresh fruits, edamame soybeans, and boiled eggs, Japanese customers get to enjoy onigiri rice balls, milk bread egg salad sandwiches, and strawberry and cream-filled sandwiches. Oh, can we have those instead of the pickles? Indonesia treats 7-Eleven like a late-night social hangout, where young folks can kick back, work online, and enjoy fried rice, piddle bread filled with cheese or chocolate, and chicken katsu. Hawaiian 7-Elevens boast spam musubi and breakfast bento boxes. And 7-Elevens in Thailand sell preserved fruit snacks made from dried and seasoned bugs. Ultimately, the question of whether eating at 7-Eleven is bad for you largely depends on what you're eating and when you're eating it. The chain sells a variety of items around the world that could find their way onto any dietitian's nice list, as well as a number of deliciously self-indulgent treats that are probably illegal in some countries. Heck, the Big Gulp was almost illegal here. But where else can you go to get a strawberry and cream-filled sandwich, a tray of sushi, and a pizza with a cardboard baked directly into the crust? Oh, thank heaven. So what do you think? Do you have a favorite 7-Eleven meal? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, check out some of these other weird history food videos.